The following program was paid for by Southern American Media.
Fox 30 welcomes you to Meridian's favorite TV personalities and three-time CMA nominees for Broadcast Personality of the Year. Welcome to Mornings with Scotty Ray and Debbie.
And good morning. I'm your friend Scotty Ray. Along with Odie this morning, as Deb's still got a few days off trying to get that voice to working. We're thinking about you there, Debbie.
That's right. You know,
Mike's enjoying it.
Still not having to talk as much, so
True.
He's enjoying. This is like a whole new vacation for
Mike.
Mike
Just don't know what to do. He's doing that little
doing the Snoopy dance.
There you go. Good morning to everyone. We wanted to say, Mitch, and let's see, good morning to James Sullivan watching this morning from APEC. We appreciate that. Danny Bryan's watching.
APEC. Maybe they're out there getting some asphalt ready to ship out.
Man, y'all got a great job right now, but come July, that may not be the greatest job in Meridian. Seriously, y'all think about that. That is a hot, and roofing. I don't envy none of you guys.
No, not at all.
So what would you say the dirtiest job in Meridian is? As Mike Rowe goes out and he does his thing. What would be the job you go, nah, I'm just really glad I don't have that?
The sewage waste treatment plant.
It's okay, but that's one of them. What about that? What about that poor fella? And you got to have this. And I was thinking about this just a second ago when we were talking about jobs. Everybody at some point in their life is going for it, but what if you had to be the guy that does that scope thing for folks? Wouldn't that just be a rough job there?
Yeah.
What do they call that?
A proctologist.
Yeah, him.
Yeah.
I don't think I want that job.
No. That's why we pay so much, I reckon.
Knock me out. Don't they horse? Have you had that done? Mm-mm. I mean, it says two people right here that have. Yeah, I'm going to get off that subject because it ain't pleasant, but I think everybody at some point goes and has it done. And somebody's got to do it.
Somebody's got to. Somebody's got to be a doctor, and somebody's got to dig ditches for a living.
Absolutely. We got to have them both.
So we got to have them both.
So salute to the working man this morning.
That's right. If that's what you're doing, more power to you.
There you go.
I've got some gloves.
Who we go here?
If you need some.
How you pronounce that? Arlene Tew says.
I went to West Lauderdale, and you want me to pronounce that? Gastroenterologist?
Yeah, we're going to ask Billy Sollie in a minute how to say that. I'm sure he's got that on his list. He can pronounce that. Billy's our guest today. He'll be joining us in just a moment, so y'all don't rush off. Mitch McConnell, anybody know that name?
Unfortunately.
What is he, 81, 82?
Something like. He's one of those that claims to be a Republican but doesn't have a clue where he's at.
That's true. He has tripped and fallen. They have taken him to the hospital and not given us any information other than the fact that he had to go to the hospital. So we'll watch that as that develops. We'll give you more information on that. As we look at things overnight, let's go to our map here. There's nothing worse than being. What did I do with it, Odie? Hang on. Oh, here it is. Let's go here and take a look here just west of Poplar Springs Drive as we go to this location right along in here, just west of Poplar Springs Drive. What is that? Gunfire overnight where somebody's house was struck.
It's getting bad. And I keep going back when you say a house struck. We had that guy that was on military leave, came home, and he got hit, and the 5-year-old, he got hit inside of a home, minding their own business, not causing any trouble, and these stray bullets.
Now, we're seeing a lot of this, and I got the map pulled back up where everybody can take a look at this. Right here, this is 24th, and this would be right around here where the old, whatchamacallit used to be.
Point Rexall.
Point Rexall. And it'd be just northwest of there, right off of Poplar Springs Drive. This stuff keeps inching to all portions of Meridian. It's not one area that you go, oh, that happens there all the time. No, sirree, Bob. It's happening all over town as we try to track it to keep you informed of where things are going on.
Yeah, we want you to know. We need you to know. We want everybody to stay safe out there.
All right, as we go to some of our headlines this morning that are shaping the Meridian area, let's remind you, we mentioned yesterday that we thought there was a stabbing victim in Meridian. Mm-hmm. That's been confirmed. I finally got an email from the city of Meridian to confirm what we knew. And here's what they were telling us. This happened in the 900 block of 42nd Avenue. As in most cases, some form of an argument, and next thing you know, somebody's got a butcher knife right in their chest.
And they're not in real good shape, so they need our prayers, and family needs our prayers. the whole situation needs our prayers.
That's rough there, but critical condition. Now, one of the shooting victims I've also heard may be in critical condition that happened the other day. We also had a stolen car Saturday night. Somebody got shot up in it. Well, they got a search warrant out here trying to locate somebody as we go to this. If you happen to know where Gabriel is this morning, Gabriel McKey, he's out there somewhere. He's wanted in connection with this. As you can see, he's 32 years old, male, 5'10", weighs 152 pounds, if he didn't fudge on his license.
If you see him, don't walk up to him and talk to him and try and hold him. Call, let the law enforcement know, let them handle this situation. Not saying that he's armed and dangerous at all, but you just don't walk up to people and say, hey,
no,
come with me.
Keep a safe distance.
Keep your safe distance. Just make that phone call. Let the proper officials know and let them come and take care of him.
I had somebody text me the other night, and this was very smart. It was a young lady that I guess she had to borrow a car that she thought because her car was stolen. And she just happened to see her car, and she stayed a way distance and called police and said, I think this is mine, and gave them directions where they might be. I
am. Come to me.
Yeah. We're going to get some more tips on this of what to do and how to handle situations like that. Big fender bender in Meridian yesterday. If you were traveling Highway 39 bypass, always confuses me there because I used to refer to that to Highway 45. And then in some points you call it Highway 19. Let's go here and pull up some pictures. It's just confusing. It really is. Yeah. The old Heilig Myers building. Let's call it that. Most people remember that. You could call it the old Lowe's building, or you could call it the Bowers Auto. That little corner there, this car here took a good lick. As we go through the pictures here, here's another car. And I had a gentleman send me a video there, and he goes, there's two wrecks here. There's this one, and then there's one behind me also. So it was a 4-car pile up there yesterday afternoon of everybody trying to get home and get some fried chicken.
You know, that's the bad thing is when you have one wreck, people are driving by and they are no longer paying attention to where they're going. They're getting their phones and they're watching, they're driving slow. And the next thing you know, you've got 3 other cars behind them that are not paying attention to the wreck or trying to get to where they're going, and they're involved in another one. So looky-loos are one of the biggest problems that we deal with out on these wreck scenes, and they end up causing a lot more secondary.
What you just call that, a what?
A looky-loo.
What is a looky-loo?
One of those that wants to drive down the road doing this at a wreck scene.
I have never in my 50 years looky-loos.
Yeah.
I've heard it called rubbernecks.
Rubberneckers, yeah.
But looky-loo. Did you learn that at West Lauderdale?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, I'm just checking that. Well, speaking of the West Lauderdale area, and we'll talk to Billy about this. His guys responded to this scene. We had an accident in the West Lauderdale area, and as we'll see, a pickup truck overturned here. This would happen on Windsor Road, as you see deputies everywhere in these pictures here. As we flip this, we'll get a little bit closer look as to what happened. That truck's upside down. People came out to help. Thank goodness nothing major happened with this. But look at the underside of that. That could have been bad.
That could have been bad, and glad everybody was all right in that. Did have one that went to the hospital, but
yeah, that happens a lot there. Somebody's rebuilding some fences today. That may be the worst part of that.
He said, I hadn't put this fence up since Katrina, and I decided a couple months ago it was time to put a fence up.
And then that happens.
So now he gets to put up another fence.
I'm telling you,
it's not too bad. He can stretch that back out.
That may rate right up in there with some of the worst jobs there. Fence building. Those posts. It's best to have an auger that goes on the back of a tractor if you have to do that. But that manual
tank.
Oh my heavens!
Yeah. And that looks to be hard clay,
red dirt type stuff there.
What we're famous for.
And let me warn you this: y'all know those little handheld ones, not the ones that go on the back of a tractor, but the ones that you hold the trigger and go.
Oh, you talking about the the pneumatic ones?
Well, they're gas powered, and you go.
Yeah.
You warn you, don't you ever do that with one hand.
So you'll go around and around.
It jerked me and slung me.
Get your sleeve caught up in it. Ooh, look at Scotty Ray going round and around.
It hurts. It's like Chris Rock said, it's been a year and it still hurts.
That thing's got a cheetah bar on it. It's about 3 foot long. It'll take a leg out one.
It will. So if you ever have to Get your brother-in-law to dig your holes for you. I'm telling you, it really works out a whole lot better there.
You rent the machine and let him operate it.
That's right.
What I'm talking about.
All right, next we've got Billy Sollie, and we'll ask him about some of these things. And let me tell you, the Sheriff's Department has been busy taking care of some bad folks out there, well, that broke the law, that shouldn't have. He's going to tell us some updates, what's gone on that you may not know about. All that's next with us right here as we start your day here at the Scotty Ray Report.
One of the most important places to you is your home. That's why Patrick Allen Companies is proud to provide style, functionality, and security to your home. There's nothing quite like a well-designed overhead garage door or vinyl replacement windows, or the safety of a storm shelter to help your family feel protected. Patrick Allen offers doors and windows for commercial and industrial with dozens of innovative designs. Patrick Allen Companies, safety, service, and satisfaction.
J&J Tire and Muffler, located at 3420 8th Street, invites you by. And if you need a front-end alignment, make sure to try their new state-of-the-art alignment machine. No matter the size of your truck and car, J&J can align it. J&J also has touch-free mounting, laser wheel balancing, and as always, they provide preventive maintenance, including CV axles, shocks, struts, brakes. And they even do work on motorcycles. With the largest selection of new and used tires, along with exhaust systems. Locally owned and operated since 1978 in Meridian.
For something as vital as your eyes, you should have your lenses and contacts made with the utmost care and precision. And that's what Grayson Optical does on 24th Avenue. Since 1996, Grayson Optical's mission has been to provide Meridian and surrounding areas with quality eye care products. That's why we're locally owned and operated. And don't forget, custom-made sunglasses like Costa for your eyes only. When you need to see clearly, Grayson Optical. 2021 24th Avenue, Meridian. 601-693-6374.
And welcome back. I'm your friend Scotty Ray. This is Odie, if you've never met Odie. He's filling in for Deb, and we do appreciate that so much. Yeah. As we mentioned, Odie, we got a special guest. Now, if you happen to have he can't see through the TV, and he can't see you through your phone, I don't think. But if you got a warrant, be careful.
That's right.
Sheriff Billy Sollie, good morning.
Himself.
Good morning, guys. And I appreciate you having this big desk between the two of us. I'm talking about the guy sitting to your right. I'm still mad at him.
Oh, what did he do to you?
What he hasn't done for me.
What was it?
Well, back at the end of the year last year, we had some severe storms come through Lauderdale County.
Right.
Had a tornado came across Highway 19 South, and one of my deputies, myself, and other volunteers went out there and was cutting up trees, getting them off the highway. When dispatch announced that a possible second tornado had been spotted through radar, headed our way. And I turned and looked, and sure enough, about 300 yards away, there's the tornado. I'm still waiting on my storm spotter certificate.
It's in the mail.
It's in the mail with a stamp on it.
I show up out there, and there he is. I said, Sheriff, did you know there was a tornado through here? He said, I watched it come all the way across.
That's a spooky thing, isn't it?
It's really, and to hear it go through the woods and hear the trees snap, it was kind of a eerie feeling. You're absolutely correct.
As Billy brings that up, we want to remind you, as just a quick little side note here, and let me pull this up for the folks that didn't watch our 6:30. We do have some severe weather moving in on Saturday night. Yep. Right here, it really fits the subject there. That's a level 2. Possible tornadoes involved with that. It doesn't guarantee that it can't change in between now, but be prepared. Saturday night, Sunday morning.
And we push this out, and we want you to be knowledgeable about it, because what we saw on radar was a rotation in the clouds. We don't get the luck of being able to see that tornado form and come across like we do in some areas, because we're uncovered with radar. But we've got a couple of guys that can really look at that and see where it's starting to twist. And knowing that our high sheriff and his men are out there in the field, we try and sit there and let them know, look, we're seeing something.
Well, when things happen, y'all are one of the first, both of you guys, that have to respond to whatever happened. And, absolutely. It's something else there.
They're out there quick.
Yes, they are. Billy, tell us, as we were getting ready for this, what's going on behind the scenes that maybe Lauderdale County doesn't? What have your guys been working on? Have they made any new developments lately?
Sure. Late yesterday afternoon, our investigative team made an arrest. An individual had a couple of backpack blowers, the industrial-sized blowers, stolen off his work truck. He had reported to the city of Meridian and wanted some additional law enforcement, so he contacted us last week, and our guys jumped all over it. Were able to locate the 2 backpack blowers yesterday. Took the gentleman into custody that had him in his possession, and we are going to be tracking that back to hopefully actually get the guy who stole the backpack blowers.
And you say, I've heard that mentioned a lot of times. A lot of people say, "Boy, if you want some action, contact those guys in green." And they will. Y'all really work above and beyond for the citizens of Lauderdale County, no matter where you live.
Right. And I'll tell a quick story about our new building. Over the last 5 to 10 years, a lot of times when our deputies show up at a crime scene inside the city, they tell me that the crowd will say, "Green is here."
It's a difference.
Implying that, things are fixing to change. Well, during the last few weeks of the construction of our new building, we were walking through looking at all the doors and making sure the placards were properly labeled. And as we walked into the deputy's room, I just accidentally blurted out, "Well, the green room." When you walk into that particular part of the building, on that door, there's a placard that says "Green Room." Our men and women take great pride in that.
And let me say this. Let me show a picture here. I was down for this event, and I do have the video to it. I just hadn't got it to where I can put my hand on it, but I filmed it when I was there. This is the scene of the dedication of the building. And Billy, let me just ask you this. This has really got to be an overwhelming, because I've never had anything done, a building named after you. What goes through your mind?
I was amazed I was able to communicate after they unveiled it, because I teared up.
I'm about tearing thinking about it. I mean, it's touching.
And to show you just how dumb I am, we're getting ready for the open house, setting up the ribbon to be cut and everything. And I see Chris Lafferty, the county administrator, walking across the parking lot, toting a fold-up easel and a poster board. And I said, "Well, look, they're going to bring a picture and show a rendition of what the new courthouse is going to look like."
Well, that's kind of what I thought. I saw that.
And, I walked up. I'm helping him set the stand up and everything. He lays the poster down. I didn't have a clue. Nobody in the sheriff's department knew.
You were totally caught off guard.
Totally caught off guard.
It's kind of like the biggest birthday surprise party, and you were there and didn't know it was for you.
Had no clue. And, I've asked a lot of folks, do I need to die now?
Because normally building, you're deceased when that happens.
Sure.
How soon before they put the lettering up on the building?
Don't have a clue. And if you'll give me just a moment, I'll try to get through this.
Oh.
That happened on Thursday. The next morning on Friday, I had gone to town to take care of some business at the jail. When I came back about 9:59, I pulled into the parking lot. I'm looking at the building, getting teary-eyed again.
Right.
About what's going to be on the building. And the radio show I was listening to switched from talk radio to music. While I'm sitting there, the first song that plays is the song that my daughter and I danced to at her wedding.
Wow.
That is touching. If that don't tear you up, there's nothing that will.
I called the wife and I said, "You hear this?" And she says, she's telling you she's proud of you, Dad.
That's right.
And for those of you who are watching that maybe don't know a lot about Billy's personal life, how long has it been? And I don't want to go too far.
It's been 4 years.
Has it been?
Yep. This November will be 4 years.
And she lost her life to cancer. Is that so? We have a special feeling about that. Of course, my wife's had it.
Sure.
I've heard of some others in town that have been diagnosed with it recently, and it'll rip your heart out. It has. It takes your loved ones from you, is what it does.
Absolutely. And I only hope that I have half the courage that she had in those last few weeks. She had so much backbone. Unbelievable.
But it will also at the same time make you want to hold your grandchildren.
Oh, absolutely.
And I think that's the message out of this as we talk about this. Never take for granted any day that you have on this earth with your loved ones or whoever. This is not only the sheriff. This is a father, a dad, a husband that's talking to you on these situations.
Oh, absolutely. Always never leave home without telling your significant other, "I love you."
See, it's important.
That's right. No matter what, and Sheriff, you're always in our prayers for everything. And my question is now, what are you going to do We're talking, you didn't do 20 years worth of service and then, hey, I've had enough. You didn't do just 30 years of service. You've protected this community, whether city or county, for 50 years now?
Just about 6 months shy.
That's close.
You talking about putting your life on the line for each one of us for almost 50 years.
Yeah, I had to chuckle a while ago.
What are you going to do?
I had to chuckle a while ago when you was talking about folks walking up to people with, who are potentially dangerous. Been doing that about 49 years.
You've been doing that more than most of our listeners have been alive.
Yeah, it started bothering me a little bit when I realized that I have deputies working for me right now that were not born when I became sheriff.
We'll be right back with more Billy on the way. Y'all don't rush off. We got so much more to talk about. If every time the wind blows you get a little leery about a tree over your house, talk to my friends at Reed Tree Service. There's no reason to be worried about a tree crashing through your house. Mike Reed has years of experience dealing with trees. It can be as simple as having a limb removed or a tree that is just huge too close to your shop or house. It's not going to cost you anything to have Mike come out and give you an estimate. They're licensed and insured, taking care of East Mississippi and West Alabama. Reed Tree Service. Have tree, will travel. And welcome back. I'm your friend Scotty Ray as we have our special guest today, Billy Sollie, in the studio with us today. And don't forget, coming up this morning, I was looking for this. I had it just a moment ago as open house today, sort of a customer appreciation day. It's going to be at Wilson Saw and Outdoor Power. Hot dogs, hamburgers starting at 11 o'clock. You buying?
I'm buying.
I'm headed over.
Show up, and it's always good right off the grill and some nice folks. Go down there and meet them, see what all they have to offer. Grab you some lunch while you're there. And
I understand they're revealing the new brand Steel. They're going to be doing a new lawnmower. I didn't know Steel made lawnmowers, but they're going to be showing that.
I didn't either.
Yeah, so
Sheriff, your neighbor is asking a question, and I don't want to go off in here because it's got to be a loaded question, but he's asking how good your fishing partner is.
My fishing partner?
Yeah.
Sir, sometimes I have to be the older, wiser person in front of the boat. But we won't talk about Shane like that.
Does he fish off the platform while he's out there in the middle of the water?
Well, I had to get a special seat for him. He was having a little bit of pain issues in his foot, so he had to sit down. He did.
Y'all know a whole lot more than I do. Let me ask this: of all the years, and there's bound to be a time and place. Have you ever made an arrest to where you didn't want to do it, but you had to do your job? And I know that's just off the cuff.
Again, way back when I was a patrolman, my daddy relayed to me because he was a patrol sergeant. He said he had a lady came and to pay a ticket one day, and she said, I really think he really didn't want to give me this ticket, but he did his job. And sometimes it's difficult to do your job, but you can't show favoritisms. You have to.
And I'm sure we ran into somebody the other day that, and this just clicks with what you're saying. And their job is, they got that bad job of being the repo man. And he said he had to back up and take a car, and as he's hooking it up, there's the kids' toys, a baby seat, and he said he cried, but he said he had to do his job.
Right.
And that's tough sometimes.
Definitely so.
It's not easy.
No, sir.
You have.
Yeah, I just think about it, Odie. At a scene, it's kind of bad when my guys or I show up. It multiplies that when you show up.
Is that?
It really gets bad when the coroner shows up.
It gets worse every step, doesn't it?
Yeah. Odie's been a great partner with us, providing us with technical support at crime scenes, lights, and so forth. Just several weeks ago, we had a death investigation that we were assisting Choctaw County with.
Oh, yeah.
It got late in the afternoon, and it turned into the evening, and Odie provided us with the lighting so that my guys could process the crime scene. So we have a great team here in Lauderdale County that provides us with tremendous support.
And I want to say this all through that, y'all kept us updated as to what was going on, where it was,
Sure.
and I can't thank y'all enough for being transparent about what the Sheriff's Department is doing.
We've always had the philosophy it's a lot better to report than it is to respond, because if you're responding, people are going to say, "Oh, you're covering something up."
Yeah, and that people do think that you can't help it if.
Yeah, I've always said that if you work with the media doesn't have time to make something up. They're going to report something.
Absolutely.
So either give them what they need to report, or they're going to make that report up. So.
And that's some of the things that I've learned over the last year at our sheriff's conference. Two of the bigger sheriff's departments in the state, in the United States, Brevard County down in Florida, and then Sheriff Lamb out in I think was it Arizona.
Yes, sir.
They don't do press releases. They both have their own production company. They do their releases through their social media page and tell the media, if you want the information, there it is. And if you change it, we're going to play what you aired and what the truth is simultaneously.
Because it had been twisted so much.
Exactly. So boy, they've completely avoided the media.
Yeah, and we don't want that. I mean, we work great together.
Sure.
Let me throw another one of those at you there.
All right.
Out of the nearly 50 years you've done with crimes and things that have been solved, what would you say is the number one case that pops to your mind if you go, I helped solve that? I feel so good about this, that this is taken care of. Out of all of that, what case would it have been?
Well, it's not a big case, but way back again when I was an investigator, we had a burglary out at College Park. And I said, well, I happen to know a young man out there because I was a juvenile investigator. And I said, I know a young man who knows everybody out there. I'm going to go pick him up and see if he knows anything. So I pick him up, I carried him to McDonald's, got him some breakfast that morning, and we're riding around, and I tell him, hey, we had a burglary, had some electronic equipment stolen out of our store. Do you know anything about it? Yes, sir. I said, do you know who did it? Yes, sir. I said, would you show me where his house is at so I can go talk to him? You know, perhaps if this is his first time to be involved in criminal behavior, maybe if we can get his attention early, we can stop him from committing further crimes. And he said, okay. So we drove by the house, and he said, there's the house right there. And I drove a couple of blocks away, let him go. I went back to the store and got some serial numbers off the items that were stolen, went back to the house, walked up, knocked on the door. The grandmother opens the door. I introduced myself, tell her why I'm there, tell her that I've been told that her grandson was involved in our burglary and some electronic equipment was stolen. And she said, well, he's got a new radio in his bedroom right now. And I said, may I look at it? And I went back there and sure enough verified it was some of the stolen equipment. And she says, you know, so-and-so just left from here telling me that you were coming. The young man that I had in my car who pointed out the house, who said the guy did it, he was the co-conspirator.
He was involved in it.
He was involved in it.
But I didn't have nothing to do with it because he lives right there, though.
Oh, my heavens. And so you solved the crime and...
you know, he snitched on himself. It was hilarious.
Some people, we'll leave it at that.
But again, back last week, I try to tell these guys it's a lot better to be lucky than good.
True.
You know, the 86-year-old gentleman last week.
Let's talk about that. Everybody in the county, especially in the city, are looking for someone that is missing. Billy is miles away. And what happens?
I'm driving down Highway 494, headed home. And just as I passed Freeman Tractor, I see a elderly gentleman sitting on the side of the road, and I said, no way. I called dispatch on the phone, and I said, what's the name of the gentleman that y'all are looking for? And they gave me the name. I turned around, activated my emergency lights, pulled up to him, and I said, Mr. So-and-so. And he said, yes, sir. I said, come get in my car. And we drove back. When we pulled up to Odie and all of his crew that was there at where the gentleman lived at, fire trucks, ambulances, Odie's vehicles, police cars everywhere. And I said, oh, this is for you. For me?
He got out with a grin that was from here to here. He thought that was the best thing.
Now, and let me ask this, what time of day was it when you found him?
About 5 o'clock.
So with our current time zone, it's fixing to get dark.
And he was dressed in all black or all dark colors. Yeah. So if he had not been found before daylight, if he'd been walking down Highway 494, he would have been easily hit by a vehicle.
And folks, that can happen. I was going to town the other night, and you know where you're coming up where Mississippi State is, that little hill near the Methodist Church. There was someone, and I did not. My mirror almost caught them. They were on that white line, and I never saw them. And I mean, I squinted like that because I thought I had bumped. It scared me.
Right. You know, about 3 weeks ago, I was coming to work one morning at 7:30, and I had just turned off what we used to call Highway 11 South, and now it's Highway 19 on the 5th Street. And dispatch gave out a BOLO for a stolen vehicle. It had just been stolen. And they said an individual was following the vehicle. As I'm going down 5th Street, dispatch says the stolen vehicle just got on the interstate at Highway 19 South, headed west. And I said, well, I'll just jump up on 29th Avenue, go over to the interstate, and maybe I'll get lucky and he'll come by. Told dispatch where I was at. Dispatch called and says they just passed 22nd Avenue, still going west. I said, we're going to Jackson today, guys. I got a full tank of gas. Stolen vehicle pulls by. I get behind him. Another one of my deputies catches up with us, and we finally get him stopped there at 5th Street and 46th Avenue, get him out at gunpoint. Again, extensive criminal history of stealing vehicles. Felons in possession of a firearm. But again, that being at the right spot at the right time.
And I'll make this quick before we go to commercials here. Let me ask you this. A lot of times BOLOs are sent out and a car is a description, and your car may match that description. What should a person do if your deputies or MPD or Highway Patrol approaches you in a situation like that? You know you're not guilty, but your car, they don't know that. What should a person do?
Always keep your hands visible on the steering wheel. And make sure whatever that officer, be it a trooper, deputy, or a municipal officer, whatever they tell you to do, don't say why.
That's a bad word.
That's a bad word. Do what they say. It'll quickly be resolved if you're not the person they're looking for, and you'll be on your way.
Because if you get ugly, it can escalate quick because y'all are thinking somebody's got something to hide.
Sure. When we come back, we'll talk about a training scenario that I failed in 2 weeks ago, too.
Okay, that's all coming up with Billy. That's next as we begin your morning. If you're an outdoorsman, Garrett's Outfitters is a place to head to in Meridian. They have a complete line of gloves to keep your hands warm in these cold mornings, toboggans to block that wind, and America's favorite, Carhartt, from the rugged overalls to slacks and shirts. Work boots and mud boots as well. Browse around the gun accessories and a complete line of just about any gun. Protect your investment, your guns, with one of the many Browning gun safes they have to choose from. For the outdoorsman in your family, it's Garrett's, 3505 8th Street, Meridian. Freeman Tractor on Highway 494 invites you by to take a look at a brand new product they've got. Odes, ATVs, and UTVs. These side-by-sides range from 800 to 1,000 cc's, and they come with heat or air. Whether you're doing work around the farm or hunting, they've got the unit just for you to keep warm or cool, depending upon that Mississippi and Alabama day. Swing by for a test drive today at Freeman Tractor. See coleslaw, buttermilk, and don't forget you can meet their newest employee, Eggplant. That's Freeman Tractor, Highway 494.
Have you been in an auto accident? Call Will Parker. Get the help you deserve. Call Will Parker. Don't settle for less and know your rights. Call Will Parker. Call or go online at parkerfirm.net. Call your Meridian lawyer, Will Parker.
In just a moment, we'll go back to Billy's story and find out what he might have or may not have passed. That's right around the corner. Let's take a minute and step back. Billy, you're bound to know some of these today that happened on this date. Let's begin this. Let's go back to 1902. There ain't a person alive, I don't think, that's not going to know this. This fellow was born. He'd done many things, but there's only one thing that you'll remember for because he became everybody's grandpa.
Oh, yeah.
Anybody remember this guy?
Yep.
Will Gears.
I mean, that was a memorable show. Whether you liked it or not, you still saw it because it didn't come on when you only had 3 channels.
That's right. And Scott McQuaig made a trip up that way, and I remember looking at his Facebook page, and he took a picture of the real Walton's home. Didn't look anything like that. And he always had that house up on the side of a mountain, and it really wasn't. It was a letdown. But it's still neat.
Good night, John Boy.
That's right. And the writer of that, the guy that done the voice of that show, that was his family. And they let him, he was a great voice of that. John Boy was the star by all means. Kind of made you want a big family. This guy, Natchez, Mississippi, is where this guy originated from in 1936. He's a Mississippian. A lot of people don't know that. He would leave here. He would have a very famous first cousin who became a preacher. He would have another first cousin who could sing pretty doggone good. Yeah, he was good at it. He would eventually make his way to Texas and end up in a little place called Pasadena and think, well, I need a bar. I need a honky-tonk. It turned out to be the largest nightclub in the entire world by a Mississippian. Mickey Gilley, born on this date back in 36. Don't the girls get prettier at closing time? We'll leave it at that.
Hold my beer and watch this.
And Urban Cowboy was filmed there. And, it accidentally burned, is what I'm told. I don't think it had anything to do with collecting insurance money. I think it just burned, despite the rumors that you told me.
I'll keep you updated.
John Travolta, that really shaped America, it was. Now, did your sister have any of these? I'm going to ask you this.
She did. That was big back in the day, and I had the G.I. Joe, and she had those Barbie dolls.
I have to ask that to parents now, is the Barbie doll still popular today as it was then with little girls?
Not near with my granddaughter. We didn't buy a whole lot of Barbies. It was a lot of dolls, but it really wasn't Barbie dolls. And they've got a bunch of dolls that's, I guess, about that same size, but not Barbie.
My granddaughter gets footballs, basketballs, and AR rifles.
It's amazing what kids like. Sometimes you can give them a box and it's just as great as an expensive toy. Our next thing happened in 1966. You won't know her name. Doesn't matter. We're showing her because she was just absolutely gorgeous.
Does she have a poster?
Anybody remember watching Indiana Jones? She was. Didn't they refer to her as the Fraulein, where she tricked him?
I don't know. I don't remember that.
She tried to hurt Indiana. But she was born today. That was Allison. And can you imagine as a kid having a last name like that?
Duty?
Miss Duty. You know the other kids picked on her something bad. She's a beautiful woman there, but that was a great show.
I'd be in court. I'm not judge. Can I change this?
I had almost forgotten about this other TV show. This little fellow was born in 1971. And I've totally forgot this was even a TV show. Anybody remember Webster?
Yes, sir.
That was a good show.
It was kind of like the next generation of Gary Coleman.
Kind of, yeah.
But it was big. It was huge. It just kind of slipped my mind that it happened. 1980.
Oh, wow.
And I don't care who you are. As you get older, you do sit back and reminisce. And, Billy, you tell us this of your younger years and the experience that you had. And you also want to, if you could go back and tell yourself something, you probably would. George Burns went down in the history books on this date, 1980, as being the oldest person to have a #1 song. Actually, it peaked at 15, but it went down in the record books as having a big hit. I wish I was 18 again.
And I tell you,
I see it Odie's face. He ain't never heard it.
Oh, yes, I have. On
Did
that
you?
one, I have. I liked old George, and he had some good comedy and good movies. He was funny. I enjoyed him.
Oh, George. But it did peak at 15, but he was the oldest person to ever have a hit that peaked out like that. Now, let's go back to 85. This all began in Texas, is where this began. It spread across America. Today, you still see these, and the funniest thing I've ever seen about it was Kramer from the TV show Seinfeld, as he got an area designated as Kramer Highway to pick up trash. It all began on this date, the Adopt a Highway sign in 85. Seems like it ought to be a longer time than that. And then sometimes people forget that they adopted that portion of the highway. Whoops.
I didn't mean for it to grow up and get trashy.
1985, TV Guide. This was big. She just passed away a few months ago, if y'all remember. Was it Angela Lansbury?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. She passed away not long ago. But 85, she was it. It was big. Always solving a crime with Howard Cunningham. Wasn't he the sheriff on there, if I'm not mistaken?
I don't remember.
The Father Dowling Mysteries guy. I think he was also the sheriff on that.
But I liked her.
Yeah, she was pretty good. I'm sure both of y'all went around singing this song in 1985. Who remembers REO Speedwagon? They were #1 with I Can't Fight This Feeling Anymore.
Oh, yeah.
Seen them at concert.
Did you?
I have.
Now, of course, you've been to a lot of concerts.
A lot of concerts.
You like music, don't you?
Classic rock.
There he goes.
He's going back for some more now, I bet.
2005, we would lose someone. The first time that you would ever hear of him, he was big in the rodeo circuit, and after rodeos he had performed, but the rest of America didn't know who he was. You wouldn't recognize his name until somebody got their first hit. It was climbing up, and they go, "Who's he talking about? Who's this guy? Chris who?" It would be Chris Ledoux that we lost on this day back in 2005. And, of course, cancer took his life. Chris was a great guy, talented, and we sure do miss him.
I don't remember him.
You're kidding me.
No.
Oh, you have never heard the Hat song? Where the guy goes into a bar and it's full of, he sits down with his cowboy hat and the bikers in the back get up and tell him they're going to rip his hat off his head, and he goes, "Hang on there a second there, buddy." And he gives the story of his hat, of what it meant to him, and his granddaddy gave him. And it's, bikers end up crying. And
I didn't know the name that went with that song.
Your Rope of Black Tornado. Yeah. Anyway, Chris Ledoux, Cadillac Ranch, lots of great songs there. Now, as we got more on the way, Billy's going to tell us about a few more adventures. Y'all stay with us. We'll be right back.
Sip and Savor is back in downtown Meridian. Chef Jimmy Kennedy will headline this year's festival, bringing an outdoorsman spin on elevated Southern cuisine. Taking the main stage is country music artist Levi Hammond. Sample over 50 chefs and distilleries visiting from all over the South to showcase their award-winning dishes. Experience the culinary tradition of the South like you never have before.
Are you looking for a trustworthy place to buy your next car or truck? Visit my friends at Massey Supermart Auto Sales. They've been doing business since 1955. There's a reason they've been in business for so long. They have fair prices, superior service, and repeat customers. For your next quality pre-owned vehicle, it's Massey Supermart Auto Sales. Taking care of your car needs at 1023 Highway 39 North.
Profit dealer, Massey Supermart.
Meridian's favorite barbecue is Squealer's Barbecue, named the barbecue capital for the state of Mississippi. Whether it's barbecue, wings, or burgers, Squealer's simply has the best for a family environment. Every Thursday night, there's live music out on the porch. Takeout orders are welcome, and whether it's your next tailgate or large catering event, your friends at Squealer's are there to help. Drop in for lunch today or a night out on the town. Squealer's Barbecue, the best in fine barbecue.
As we take a minute to talk about career changes, if you're sitting this morning thinking, "Boy, I don't like what I'm doing anymore. There's time for me to make a change." MCC offers so many different things that you can go do. Today, let's talk about this. You've been around these folks before, what they do. Both of y'all have. As we look at, a career change in being an EMT.
Man, I tell you, do you want to really change your life to help other people? This is it. This is an emergency room on wheels. They show up. They save your life until they can get you to the hospital, and you can get that education, that knowledge right here at MCC to start another career that really touches your heart and everybody in the community. So if you're looking for it, and MCC's got whatever you want, and the EMT will get you started.
And maybe you're a retired NASCAR driver and you just want to drive the ambulance. Boy, they can hook you up there too, can't you?
You know, that started right here at MCC. We had a guy that wanted to be part of the fire department. So he joined Sugalina Fire Department.
All right.
Then he started making medical calls. And he said, "Well, this is interesting. I'm going to go to EMT." So he went to MCC, got his EMT. Got through with it and said, "I want to move up." So got his paramedic. Enjoyed that so much that he said, "Well, I'm going to go to Ole Miss." Went and got his medical director, and now he's over the emergency room at UMMC over in Jackson. He is a very smart doctor. He is also part of Sheriff's SWAT team over here. So our own Andy Anderson.
Well, and it all started right there at MCC.
Right there at MCC.
Call them 555-334-87. They'll tell you the rest and take care of you. Now, you mentioned something about a class that you took. What were you talking about?
Our firearms instructor and I are still disagreeing on how the outcome occurred.
The outcome?
We went through what's called force-on-force semination training out at Sand Flat Training Facility about 3 weeks ago. That's basically using bullets that don't kill you, but they will hurt you.
Right. Kind of stun you, so to speak.
Yeah, they'll put a whip on you. You have to wear a protective helmet that protects your head, your face, and so forth. And you're giving a scenario before you walk into the shoot house. And they say I didn't fail. I just could have done something different.
Okay.
The scenario was there's been shots fired inside this house. You arrive on scene. The front door is closed. You hear shots inside the house. You open the door, and you're supposed to engage the bad guy.
Okay. I'm with you.
When I open the door, I have my gun drawn out. I look, and I see the bad guy standing down this long hallway with his back to me, gun in his right hand. I could hear him mumbling, mainly because of the helmet that he's wearing, and I start giving verbal commands, drop the gun, drop the gun, drop the gun, as he slowly walks away from me. When he gets to a door frame to his left, he immediately goes into that door frame. I continue to give the verbal commands, drop the gun, drop the gun. He throws the gun out in the hallway. I give him the commands to, face away from me, walk back to me, get on your knees, and secure him. They said I didn't do bad. That was okay. But legally, when I walked in that hallway and saw him with the gun in hand, had already heard shots, there's already been a court case that said I could have shot him in the back.
And put him down.
That I was legally justified to shoot him in the back. Now, the public may not understand that, but the fact that there had been shots fired by him or by someone in the house, I should have shot him.
Well, see, and when you said he went in that room there, I had the thought of him rolling on the floor and coming back and firing at you is what ran through my mind of the scenario. Sure. And doing what they said you could have done better, I guess, would prevent a situation like that.
And then you got, like I say, you have to have the faith of the community. Yeah, I shot him in the back, but this is why.
Right. And a lot of times people jump to conclusions
absolutely,
without knowing all the details. We've seen that nationwide, and they go to tearing up things, and it just isn't good. Know the truth before you do something.
Sure.
In real life situation, have you ever been in a similar situation like that? I have to ask.
After 49 years, what do you think?
I'm thinking Billy has a story for me.
Again, a long time ago, when I was a patrolman with the Meridian Police Department, we had an incident down south of the tracks where we got a call. A man had a woman hostage. We go into the room.
Now, when you say hostage, this makes, when y'all respond, that makes the scene even a little bit...
This is before SWAT.
Okay.
So we go in the house, and sure enough, they're in the kitchen area. It's a small wood-framed house. He's in the corner. He's got her in front of him. She's much larger framed than he is. He's got his left arm around her waist, and he's got a pocket knife in his right hand, and he's been cutting on her throat.
Oh.
So the sergeant in charge negotiates and tries to get him to put the knife down. This goes on for several minutes. She's bleeding pretty bad. But the way he was behind her, we had very little options to shoot. Being a young, dumb rookie, I indicated to the sergeant that on occasions he would bring that hand with the knife down by his side. I indicated to the sergeant, I think I can shoot him in the arm or hand, and he gave me the green light. And the good Lord took care of me that night, and I shot. The bullet went into his right hand. He dropped the knife. We still had to fight him. It took 80 stitches to sew up her throat.
Oh, bless her heart.
The sad part about it is he had just got out of prison where he had served 8 years of a 10-year sentence for a previous murder he had committed.
So he was most likely going to finish that job.
Correct. I mean, he made the comment, all y'all want to do is shoot me anyway, I might as well do it. So that kind of gave us it's time to shoot.
Now, as this always just makes different things. You've watched TV shows. I've watched TV shows. What happens on TV and what's in reality is not the same, is it?
No, sure it's not. And, again, times have changed dramatically. On that particular officer-involved shooting, they told me to go on home. They didn't take my gun. I didn't do any reports that night. The next morning, I go down to the police department to see how the investigation was going. They've got him charged with public drunk. I said, time out, guys. We got to do better than that.
Yeah, I would think so.
They ended up charging him with aggravated assault.
How does something like, as you say that, how does something like that happen? Because you have to wonder sometimes. You see something bad happen, and that was just trespassing, and you're going, no, I saw something.
Sure.
How does that come about? Is it the way it's written or passed on?
Normally, if you'll have an initial charge just to hold somebody while the investigation is continuing, and it may be a determination of we're going to gather evidence for weeks, months, and present it to a grand jury at a later time. So the worst of the charges may be put on hold until all the investigation, all the evidence is collected.
So much knowledge here. We're going to get a little bit more in a moment here with Billy as we start to. This is Thursday, Odie.
Friday's next.
It is. We'll be right back.
Friday.
Hi, I'm Nick Lisi. I am owner of Pinch and Tails Crawfish Shack here in Marion, Mississippi. We are located right across the street from the Subway Sandwich Shop, right next to the Little Griddle. If you're a seafood lover, we have the absolute best seafood in town. We carry crawfish, shrimp, lobster tails, raw oysters, snow crab, corn potato sausage, all the fixins. And for all of your special orders and catering needs, please call 601-934-0598. We're located in downtown Marion.
The Square Peg Mini Mall, located across from the Neshoba County Co-op in Philadelphia, Mississippi, is a family-owned business that promises to treat you like family. The Square Peg Mini Mall has been operating for over 10 years and boasts over 30 vendors with a rotating inventory to fit that something you're looking for. Inventory is constantly updating, so there's always a chance for a surprise when you step inside. Come visit the Square Peg Mini Mall, located on 335 West Main Street in Philadelphia, Mississippi.
If every time the wind blows you get a little leery about a tree over your house, talk to my friends at Reed Tree Service. There's no reason to be worried about a tree crashing through your house. Mike Reed has years of experience dealing with trees. It can be as simple as having a limb removed or a tree that is just huge too close to your shop or house. It's not going to cost you anything to have Mike come out and give you an estimate. They're licensed and insured, taking care of East Mississippi and West Alabama. Reed Tree Service. Have tree, will travel.
Health Now is your locally owned medical equipment store. Every person's need is a little different, and they offer a little bit of everything from hospital beds, wheelchairs, reclining back wheelchairs, breathing treatments, CPAPs and supplies. They even have walkers, bath products, and oxygen. And the great thing about Health Now is they offer same-day service. They're open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. and on call 24/7. Health Now Medical Equipment, where we treat our patients like family.
Well, this group here is already at work this morning. Snowden and Company, what they're doing is, finding homes for you. And if you haven't looked around, maybe it's time for one. Maybe you want to sell yours. Maybe you made an inheritance and you've got too many houses now. You got to get rid of one. Talk to her. She'll come through, give you her what they think it's worth, get it on the market, and get you the most return for your money. Here's some homes just to glance at that's out there. Right now, this is on the Newton County Martin Road. Beautiful home there. As we look out toward Dalewood, as we come across these areas here, that's a gorgeous home also. Clark, Kemper, all these areas here. And, even over to the Jackson area. Now, they're going to be closed on Saturday. They can do it by appointment only. And then on Sunday, they're closed altogether. But if you need a home, you know as well how confusing all that stuff is, all that paperwork.
Just put your list down and give them and say, here's my wish list. You do the work. Let me know when we're done, and they'll take care of you from start to finish.
453-3937 is the number to call, and it's all taken care of. Snowden and Company. Visit with them today. Now, as we've got about 4 or 5 minutes left here. How many days is it before that you hang up your gun belt?
Oh, let's just see here real quick, Scotty Ray. You see how you want to know this.
Since I brought it up.
296 days, 16 hours, 6 minutes, and 38 seconds.
He's got a clock.
I think he's got a countdown.
There it is.
That's too funny. Nearly 50 years.
Yes, sir.
And you get to go to the house.
Get to go to the house.
Have you made plans as to what the first thing, like when they win the Super Bowl, they go, what is the first thing you're going to do?
I'm going to Disney World.
Are you going to Disney World, or what are you doing?
No, sir, not. In fact, I will be out of the country. My wife and I, since our daughter passed, we don't want to be at home for Christmas.
Right.
So she plans us an out-of-the-country trip at Christmas. And this year we'll be doing a 10-day cruise through the Panama Canal.
Ooh.
So that puts me leaving the United States as Sheriff Sollie. I'll be coming back to the United States as Joe Citizen.
It's going to be different. It will be.
It truly is going to be different. I have mixed emotions. I truly still love being part of the team that catches bad guys and bad girls.
But with you saying that, is it truly possible to walk away from this, or do you honestly go, let me volunteer to do something? Can you give that up? I don't know if I could.
I don't know. The day we had the grand opening at the new building, Commissioner Tyndall was there. He's over the Highway Patrol. And I told him, I did 20 years with the city and did 18 months with the city school system and then 28 years as sheriff. And he says, well, what you going to do? And I said, I don't have any plans. He said, well, we got a trooper school starting. I said, sir, I think I'm a little too old for trooper school.
We're going to put him in our Lima weather team for sure. We've got a tornado.
I don't have a certificate, so I'm not qualified on it.
Here we go again.
I got a text that says, ask the sheriff about the brim bed that he's been charging.
I did buy 100 pounds of floating fish food yesterday. Yes, sir. It's time to bring them home.
So I would think, and this is just guessing, I would think the first couple of days, hey, it's great sitting at home, but boy, and just having your hand, you're going to reach for things. You'll be at a red light, I'm sure, and see something go down, and you'll want to take charge of it.
When I told the deputies that I was going to retire, I said, if you don't know the fastest way to my house, please find it, because I'm predicting within 6 months of me retiring and going home, there's going to be a domestic violence in my house. My wife is a former law enforcement officer. She's going to pull a gun on me and tell me to go, get out of the house.
And that does, we joke about that, but, of people that haven't been together every hour of the day, they come home, sure, and you've got to wait because you've been running things at work.
She doesn't fold the towels correctly. We've been married 40 years, and she still hadn't learned. I've been trying to train her for 40 years how to fold the towels. There's going to be some frictions. There's no doubt about it. She's already said, I'm going to treat you like your mama. She said, I'm going to tell you there's a garden hose outside. Don't come home till dark.
That's what the brim bed's for.
You're going fishing a lot.
And I have 1,400 acres leased next to the subdivision I live in. So,
oh boy, that's even better. It's right there at the back door.
Absolutely.
And I'm jealous of him. He's going on the Panama Canal cruise. Now I'm going to have to find one of those I've always wanted, but
I'm going to look into it. I've never been on one. We're coming to the close of the show today. If anybody has questions that they want to drop by and visit the new office, how do they go about that, Billy?
Well, we told the supervisors this past week that the open house is behind us now. That was the free visit. Now the tours are $5 a piece. No, seriously. If anybody wants to come by and see our building, please stop by. Myself or Ward or someone else will be glad to give you a tour of the building.
It's great. It's fantastic. And Billy, thank you. We're going to have you back on before you're out of here and that 200 days winds down, but always a pleasure to have him. Again, one of the finest we have representing our county and protecting our folks. Odie, what do we got to do now?
Man, I tell you what, we're going to get ready for Friday. Y'all have a wonderful day, and we will see y'all in the morning.
Bright and early, 7 a.m. Thank y'all so much. God bless, and we'll see you then.
The Scotty Ray Report is brought to you by our following partners: